Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of the Mike Abadir Show. Wait a second. Is this Mike Abadir Show? Sorry. I feel it. I get that vibe. I feel that energy.
You're 2/3 of the way there.
Exactly. Well, you've been on there before. You've been on there with us before, George.
Yes, I have. Love that show.
Yeah.
Fantastic show and fantastic hosts, and both of them are here today. I feel very fortunate. We've got a million things to cover. First of all, I want to welcome both of you to the show. Mike, how you doing? How's the show going? Football season's right around the corner.
It is right around the corner. Super excited. You know, both from a business perspective and an entertainment, leisure perspective. Gino and I are competing head-to-head in a bunch of leagues. I think one of our fantasy leagues, we're going head-to-head week 1.
Yep,
if I remember correctly. Off the bat. Mm-hmm. But I think this NFL season in particular is very intriguing because you got a couple of teams at the top that are looking good, and there's a huge middle tier. So makes it very compelling. A lot of cities are going to be still in the race come December, mid-December. So good stuff to come.
Gino, this show is called the First Look Seminar. I know you're on 47 shows, and so sometimes it's hard to keep track what show you're on. This is the one from Santa Anita where we talk about horse racing. I know you talk about sitcoms and you talk about movies, talk about sports, you talk about everything.
Wrestling.
Oh, yeah. Wrestling. He does it all. He's unbelievable and so knowledgeable. He'll come up with tidbits, Well, this guy, even though he's been hot rodding, he loves chocolate ice cream. It's his favorite ice. How do you know these things? He's got a plethora of information that nobody has. Welcome to the show, Gino.
Always happy to be here with you, Georgie. This is my favorite part of the year. When September hits, the final third, we get college football. We had week 0 last week. Tomorrow, we got LSU, UCLA, USC's kicking off their season. Next week, we got the NFL season. The baseball playoffs are going. This is a huge weekend series for the Dodgers and the Giants. They're deadlocked at the top of the standings. We got the NBA coming up in October. Breeders' Cup in just a few months. This is my favorite couple of months. It's going to be an awesome ride to the end of the year.
It's favorite. We're going to concentrate on Del Mar here, but before we get to Del Mar, you kind of touched on it. A big 3-game series here for the Dodgers. Yeah. What excitement. Does anybody, Mike, does anybody have a chance to sweep this?
We spent a lot of time talking about that yesterday because of the impact that a sweep would have on the psyche of either team. I think if there was a team that could get a sweep, it's the Dodgers, right? Because they got 2 of their hottest pitchers going on Saturday and Sunday in Urias and Walker Buehler. And the Giants rotation isn't really solidified for this weekend. Right. So I don't know if have they named starters yet, Gino?
No,
it's going to be kind of a mix and match type of ball game where they have
the guy
go maybe a couple innings, and then from there, who knows?
Well, the Giants got their best pitcher tonight, Gino.
But he's against the Dodgers this year. He started 5 games. He's 0-3 with an ERA over 9. Wow. He has a WHIP over 2. He has got lit up by the Dodgers this year. So they probably feel good about this matchup. But then you look at the numbers and how the Dodgers have done against him. If you're a Dodger team and you get by him tonight, you got to feel very confident about your chances on Saturday and Sunday with Urias and with Buehler set up. So today is the really big game for, I think, like Mike was saying, mentally for the psyche of both of these teams. Whoever can win this first one is just going to feel a lot better heading into Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but George, keep in mind something. The Giants have just found a way to keep winning. I mean, I've discredited them all year long, and all they do is keep winning. For the longest time, they were able to maintain that gap between them and the Dodgers. They put away the Padres. I would have never expected that before the season started. So got to give them credit. First week of September, they're still first place.
Yeah, got the best. They both got the best record in baseball. So
exactly right. And Gabe Kapler's done a fantastic job. I got to give him props. I didn't think he was a good hire. I'm just being honest. I didn't think so, and I'm obviously clearly in the wrong about that.
All right, that's exciting this weekend. Of course, the baseball. Like you said, football's coming up. I was in Vegas last week. Now, a lot of times you see this in horse racing. When Justin won the NHC, they asked him about the horse he had in the last race, and he said, I didn't think it was the most probable winner, but that's the one I needed to bet on to win. So I was in Vegas this weekend. Last weekend, and I don't think that's the best football team to win it, but I bet the Tennessee Titans to win the Super Bowl because they were 25-1. I love Tennessee.
It's terrible, right? You feel like they can stack up some wins in that division.
Yeah,
probably
they're going to kill that division, I think.
Get a home game, you know, in the playoffs. Maybe get a really nice setup in the playoffs, and you add another wide receiver there. Offensively, they're as good as anyone. They got a great back, 2 great receivers, a very solid quarterback.
Julio Jones is now. I mean, that was when I heard that. I was like, hey, at 25-1. I mean, I know the Kansas City Chiefs are probably going to win it, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like Justin betting that horse. Hey, he's not the most logical winner, but at 25-1, that's my that's my football Super Bowl pick. How about you, Mike? Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
I'm boring. I've got the Kansas City Chiefs.
They should win.
I've got them repeating going to the Super Bowl. That'd be 3 straight years, which is a dynasty, I think, NFL wise, because you don't see that very often. But I like your Tennessee pick. I think that's a nice sneaky pick. Ryan Tannehill has really established himself as a good quarterback. And that couldn't have been said about him several years ago. And now they've got really, really legitimate weapons. They've had an off season to really fine tune things. I think offensively, they're going to be really, really good. And like Gino mentioned, they're in a cakewalk of a division.
Yeah. Easy
right.
division.
Now, usually you say that at the beginning of the year, by the end of the year, you're like, wow, 4 playoff teams or 3 playoff teams. Right. But I don't think that that's going to be the case this year. So I really think that this division is subpar. Every team's got question marks. Every team's got quarterback issues or a first-time starter. Right. Yeah. So,
well, I think they have a great post position. I think Tennessee, doing like horse racing, they drew a really good post position.
Yeah.
Who do you like in this? Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
25-1's a great. I think I'm with you. I'm always looking for a little bit bigger prices at a future like that. At 25, I had the 3 teams in the AFC that I looked at: the Titans, the Browns at 16-1, and the Ravens at 14-1. I think both of them have a shot right there. On the opposite side, I think the Rams at around 15-1 actually have a legitimate shot. They might not be a bad team to look at. If you want to go even crazy with the Cheese Whiz, the team that I think, that's a Todd Trupp line. If you want to look for a big long shot, I think Carolina as a team to make the playoffs this year, I don't know if they're good enough to win the Super Bowl, but they may be a team I play a lot of weeks this year, and I think that they have a shot to sneak in.
You know, George, really quickly here, if I may, I'm actually kind of glancing over here to look at the win totals and the Super Bowl winning odds here. But as I thumb through that, I will give you a long shot pick since Gino gave you a good one in the Carolina Panthers. Mine's over in the AFC. How about the Miami Dolphins?
Hey.
Right? Defensively, they are so much improved. Yeah. Last year, they had a really nice start to the season, and they decided to put in a rookie to get him experience in Tua at quarterback. It kind of changed the mojo a little bit for the Dolphins, but if they are right, if they're betting on Tua needing those 8-9 games of experience under his belt to take the next step, if we project that next step with the defense, he's got some offensive weapons. I think the Dolphins could be a team that could be under the radar and make a lot of noise, get into the playoffs. And you know this, George. You know this, Gino. You get into the playoffs and anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
So Miami's my kind of like a long shot pick.
Now, I am not betting on these people at all because I don't think they have a team. But, man, you know who's intriguing me? Jameis Winston. He's been looking good, man. What's going on? If he just stays away from like lifting seafood from supermarkets, I think he looked good, right? He's been looking good.
Yeah, Saints are a team I follow pretty closely. I represent a player on the Saints, long snapper Zach Wood, and because of that, I've really, really been in tune, especially with their special teams units and stuff like that. But in terms of Jameis Winston, I always thought he was a really good quarterback. Keep in mind, in terms of moving the ball, his last season starting with the Tampa Bay Bucks, he moved the ball really, really well. They were able to go downfield. Unfortunately, there were some pick sixes along the way, and I think that there's no better way to fine-tune that than to work with Drew Brees and Sean Payton and their offensive staff, the coaching staff, to be able to fine tune that. I'm going to see a big improvement. But like Gino has pointed out, offensive weapons may be kind of an issue, especially at the wide receiver position with Michael Thomas being out for the first, 6-7 games.
Yeah, something like that. And the tight ends there a little. I agree with you. I like him probably more than most people do as a quarterback. And I would have loved if he would have been in the spot with New Orleans last year with just their same, their same skill players. They would have had a better tight end. They would have had better receivers. That's my only concern with him, is that he may be in the situation that he was in a couple years ago where he has to try to start doing too much. And if that's the case, that's where he gets in a little bit of trouble. If they can run the ball, feed Kamara, and he just has to make smart throws and extend the field, I actually like Jameis. I think I think you can win with him as a quarterback if you have everything else set.
Yeah, because Kamara, an effective, healthy Kamara can open things up to kind of disguise that you don't have like top tier receivers.
Yep.
Right. So they could get a little bit of separation
out there. Yep.
Yeah, I think so.
With a healthy Storts, can Ted Lasso win this year, Gino?
Well, Roy Kent is pretty annoying right now. He's annoying his girlfriend. She doesn't want anything to do with him. She's trying to hide in the other rooms and stuff at work. So that's a greatest show, man. Great show. So good. Love me some Richmond.
Let's get to horse racing. Goodness gracious, before everybody just turns us off. Before we start, I do want to mention, when I was a jockey agent for 7 years, one of the trainers that always gave me a chance and who I highly respected, and I never thought she got enough respect because she is a tremendous horsewoman, was Molly Pearson. Molly Pearson just passed away yesterday from I think a brain aneurysm. She was only like 52 or something like that. And so, of course, my heart goes out to her family and sending out love and stuff. And Molly Pearson, again, just a class act, wonderful trainer,
excellent
underrated.
With young horses. Always was really good with like young or first-time starters. They would pop at massive prices.
Yeah. And they would pop. I mean, she could get them to run.
Yep.
So love out to them. The hat I'm wearing is Folds of Honor. It's an organization that takes care of the families of our heroes who died. So if a serviceman, somebody in the military dies, Folds of Honor, if their children need to go to college, they put up a full scholarship to those kids. They've raised, I think they've given away $650,000 in scholarships just recently. And of course, with everything going on with, Afghanistan, all that stuff, I mean, they're really needed. We're going to have a special poker charity tournament on October 23rd at Santa Anita. Right after the races, we're going to have a poker, tournament, and 100% of the money, the buy-in is going to go towards this charity. It's a phenomenal charity. So go to
George, how can we donate to them?
Go to santanita.com and then look under events and look for, the poker charity. And, you could either buy somebody into the game or donate some money. Great. It is a phenomenal organization. I've been working with them for the last 3 weeks to set up the tournaments. October 23rd. It's going to be fun, and Folds of Honor, and they're fans of horse racing. So you see, that FOH can stand for a lot of things.
Hey, George, quick question. Is that
for that too? Cool.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gino. I was going to ask, is that an online contest or is that in person?
It's going to be live. Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay. Cool.
It's very, very cool. All right. Let's get to the horse racing. Del Mar, we got horse racing today, tomorrow, this whole weekend, and of course, Labor Day. So a lot of exciting horse racing. And beforehand, we decided to pick certain races today, 4 races today and 4 races tomorrow. And we kick it off today in the first race, right off the bat. First post is 3:30 today. It's a mile and a 16th on the turf, 32,000 with a purse of 39,000. Gino, let's kick it off with you. Who do you like in race number 1?
These are non-winners of the year. So that's a condition. When I see it, I always go and try to see when these horses have won their last race. Who's been the most recent winners, and then what are the races they're coming out of? The horse I actually land on is the one Cleopatra Strike. Now, he's 0 for his last 11, but 8 of those 11 races were against Stakes Company. In fact, his last win was in a grade 2, the grade 2 John Henry back in 2019. And if you'll notice, he just seemed like he was a little bit overmatched in some of those spots. They dropped him down on May the 14th, and he ran really, really well in a similar spot. It was a $40,000 claimer, a time-restricted claimer. He finished second that day. It was a very nice effort. And then he came back on June the 19th. They stepped him up a little bit. He had an awful first furlong. He was in tight. He was bumped. Then he bumped into another rival. He ended up 3 wide, about 5 lengths off, third to last. It was just one of those trips where you kind of put a line right through it because the start of the race was so bad. If you're playing him off of his May 14th race, I mean, he fits quite a bit in here. I think he's got some class. I think he saves ground. If he's anything in the 3-1 range, I'll make a win wager on Cleopatra's Strike.
Cleopatra Strike from the Bob Hess barn. He's been winning. Cedillo has been doing pretty good as well. I mean, obviously Pratt's by far the leader, but he's been chipping away at that lead. He's only 8 behind. And Cedillo, don't forget, if you bet with first.com/bet or go to ExpressBet, every time Cedillo wins, somebody who played a wager that day is going to get $100. So certainly it pays to bet with First Bet. How did you see the first race there, Mike?
A little bit similar to Gino, actually. I like an exacta of the 1 and 7 Cleopatra Strike with Sea of Liberty. Flavor Flav obviously can't go against him. He is the man, and those are the 2 horses that have kept the best company so far. They've been in probably the most competitive races, and for the same reasons that Gino mentioned on Cleopatra Strike, I'm on board with that runner. And then Peter Miller, Flavor Flav, their numbers are off the charts when they work together. I think they're 33% in the last 2 months working together. So I'm going to play the odds and go with those 2. The one other thing I wanted to mention are the 3 and the 8, which are going to take some money, are I feel that they have distance limitations. So I think they're good bets against, once again, 1-7 exacta box. That's my play.
All right. I also agree. I think Cleopatra Strike looks good. And number 7's got Flavor Flav. Yeah, boy. And so if he put a clock around him, well, that'd be great. It'd be very
Hey, and I don't know if you guys are into early money or not, but this 5 French Getaway is taking the early money. Mike Smith and Kristen Mulhall, 6-1 morning line down to 5-2 right now.
Kristen
I don't know how much that means at Del Mar, the early wagering. I haven't monitored it enough. Maybe you guys know.
Kristen's so good first off the claim. She's having such a good meet. So a lot of that money must be, first off the claim. She's almost 30%. That's ridiculous. And Mike's the only, I don't know if Mike Smith is riding as good as he used to. But we'll see that. All right, let's go to the late pick 4. And the late pick 4 today starts in race number 5, a mile on the turf. Maiden special weights going after a $70,000 purse. A lot of first-time starters in this one. There are some that have run. Who are you leaning towards, Mike?
Scrolling to the PPs here to race 5. And, I'm kind of boring here because my top 3 choices are all, the chalk, if you will. 7, 8, and 6. Velvet Ghost is the runner that I have on top. So I guess if you're talking about the 3 favorites, Velvet Ghost is the longest shot of the 3. And I don't really see any long shots coming in here. This 7 Velvet Ghost has 1 race under her belt at a mile. And this is a mile today. Craig DeLossi, Jose Valdivia, their numbers are decent, respectable, but I like the first time effort there enough to put the 7 on top.
All right, 7 on top. Velvet Ghost with Valdivia. There's a couple of horses here in the main body that have come out of the birdcage race because Agador Spartacus in that race
does not wear shoes because they make him fall down. He worked hard for his money, so hard for his money.
What a great name for a racehorse, because great movie, just a phenomenal movie. And I don't think we're going to see Agador in this race, but a couple of them that come out of that same race, including Velvet Ghost and Blueberry Eyes. how'd you see the fifth there, Gino?
There are two first-time starters I want to mention that I think are really interesting. The 4 Street Humor. Now, it's never easy to go long first time out of the box, but this barn is actually pretty sneaky good with first-time starters. They're 7 for 30 over the last 5 years with first-time starters. In fact, they ran second with a first-timer earlier this year at Turf Paradise, going 7.5 furlongs on the turf. So that shows me that they can get a horse ready to go long on the turf and run pretty well. This particular runner, Street Humor, the dam of this one, Peppermint Lounge, was 4 for 6 and stakes placed and was 2 for 3 on the turf. So has some good turf pedigree. 3 foals that she's produced that won. 2 of them won on the turf, and the one that didn't win on the turf was just 0 for 1. And that was a horse named Visitant, who's actually graded stakes placed and a stakes winner. It's a pretty strong little pedigree for Street Humor in here, a first-time starter for a barn that is not like a national household name barn, right? So this horse will probably, whatever the price on Street Humor, it'll be higher than it should be. No doubt about it. If this was a Baffert or if this was a bigger barn, it'd be much shorter. Then you look at Big Splash, the 9, the first-time starter for Tim Yak team. So the dam of this one perched, won on the turf. Both of the foals that she's produced have won. And one of them was named Big Fish, which is a great movie too. Big Fish won the first 2 turf starts going long at Del Mar as a 2-year-old. One of them was the Del Mar Juvenile Turf Stakes. So this horse has some direct siblings that have gone well early, have gone well long on the turf, and have gone well at Del Mar. I think both the 4 and the 9 are interesting, along with the 3 horses that Mike mentioned. I thought this was probably a spread race, but maybe a couple of the little more outside the box horses to throw in the mix.
Certainly looks like it easily could be a spread race, and yesterday we saw some bombs, 50 to 1s winning. You never tell. Del Mar is tough to figure out. It's tough to hit a pick 5 if you don't go all in at least 1 or 2 races, because you just never know. The 2 that I like the best are my top pick is Quincy. I think Brian Coroner does really well second time out. This one had all kinds of issues and actually comes in here with the best thoroughgraph number of all the ones that have run. He ran a 19. Everybody else was like 21, 26, 23. So he ran the best number despite being bumped around, and that's not taken into account in the thoroughgraph numbers. They take into account, ground loss and wind and stuff, but the horse gets bumped around. There's really no number for that. So I think Quincy's going to improve big time. I like the way DVD's been riding lately. My second pick is number 4, Street Humor. Manny Ortiz, this one's been working really, really well. Peppermint Zip is one of the runners that pops out as like, wow, if this one can even come close to Peppermint Zip, it's going to be okay. And the sire, Street Boss, 15% debut winners, 14% first-time out winners. There's a lot of positives there. Besides Kyle Frey, yesterday, it's just recency. He ran such a good race to win yesterday. I think I forgot what race it was. So he's riding well. So I like 6-4 in race number 5.
It's Kyle DeFray. And we go, everyone knows I'm in over my head, the fray. We got to go Kyle DeFray. I love when he's winning races there.
By the way, George, if you didn't know, Gino is auditioning right now for The Voice.
Exactly.
As we speak.
I love it. We
He's
might have a
submitting the
karaoke night at Santa Anita just so we can get Gino in there singing away. Yeah, we'll just mention a horse and have it. I was like, I know a song related to that horse. And boom. It's incredible.
The wheels are always spinning.
He'll find the connection.
All right. The Generous Portion is one of the stakes races that we got today. It's going 6 furlongs. It's $100,000. You got some really nice 2-year-olds in here. Gino, how did you see this race?
A couple scratches. Zubashi is out and Eleuthera is out. We'll probably talk about Eleuthera in a minute because I believe she's going to be running against the boys on Saturday. I like the 9 Big Novel in here. Big Novel in her debut. Now, she's a maiden, and she was behind Connie Swingle, who's also in this race. Big Novel had a brutal start. Took up, squeezed back, was last, was about 8 lengths off, and really started to move nicely on the outside. But the winner, Connie, got like a 4 or 5 length jump on her. And that was just the difference between, a lot closer of a finish there. I think Big Novel has a major opportunity to improve in this spot. So I'll give the 9 a big look.
Mike?
I got a fire long shot here. And you know what you do in a fire? You stop, drop, and roll. I like the number 4,
Nice.
8-1. We haven't seen Blaine Wright this meet at Del Mar, have we?
No.
So I believe that he's spotted this horse well. I like the first time effort. Took a good amount of money. Went up at 2.8-1. This first time effort I'm mentioning was at Golden Gate. He's at Sharp Works. And yeah, I like the debut win. And Ricky Gonzalez at the helm. I think Blaine Wright goes 1-for-1 at this Del Mar meet.
My top pick here is number 4, the fire horse right there.
There you go.
And hopefully I won't get fired for picking him. But what a nice debut. Earned an 8 on the Thoroughgraph sheets, which is a solid number for a debut runner. Now, one number horses a lot of times don't deliver, but sometimes, I mean, if he happens to improve off of that 8, he could be long gone. Ricky Gonzalez, he's certainly really pretty good with front runners. I think this was going to come.
The scratch helps you too. Nozubashi takes a little bit of the pace out of the race.
Yeah. So I like the price at 8-1.
Yeah.
I think he's one of these ones that is going to be right around that price because Connie Swingle is probably going to be the favorite. I mean, he just demolished. D'Amato is as hot. He started out cold as a fish, but now he's really hot. Big Novel's going to get played with all that trouble. Even Carmen Miranda getting Pratt aboard for D'Amato is going to get some play as well. So I think we're going to get all of that 8-1, Mike, and hopefully it'll come through. Race number 7, they're going a tricky distance of 1 mile and 3/8. It's a race that goes on forever. I'm going to start it off because, man, I really needed and I thought that England's Rose would crush last race.
I know.
And even though it ran a great second and bada bing, bada bang, it was a major disappointment for me. I really, I like the luck as well. So, but England's Rose was a disappointment. She's going to be my top pick again, just because, I think maybe the extra distance might even help her. And she looked really good coming on strong there at the end with Victor Espinosa. So I'm going to go with England's Rose, like in a tepid pick there. But even Lady Noguez, even though it was beaten handily in that race, I think Lady Noguez, if you go back to the mile and 3/8 race on July 18th, that was her best race ever. And so maybe she just really likes this distance. And I could see her throwing in an improved effort with a rejuvenated Keith DeSormo. So I like it 5-6 in race number 7. Gino?
With the scratch now, I like the 8 Star of Africa. I like the 8 a little bit less now because Mercy is in the race. Del Mar Drama is scratched. Trickle In is out, but Mercy is in. And I think Mercy will add some pace. There's no speed in this race at all. I mean, none without Mercy drawing in. That's why I thought Star of Africa would just end up on the lead by default and have it their own way up front. I'll probably still include Star of Africa, but I likely lean towards Quinta Winta, the 2, who's a fun name to say there, and is just really sharp right now. Put a couple races together. The race 3 back against Maiden Special Weights was actually the one that I liked, where she had a ton of trouble. Then she's come back since, dropped, and has won a couple races back to back. Quinta Winta for me in all exotics.
Certainly looked good winning last time, and he's on a 2-race win streak. So Quinta Winta could easily win the racer. Micah, who you like?
Gino mentioned Mercy as a early speed candidate, setting the tempo. Remember the angle of East Coast turf runners on the West Coast dirt runners on the East Coast? I don't think that angle is as maybe sharp as it once was. I don't think the numbers support it in the same manner that it did maybe 3-4 years ago. But at 12-1, I think it's worth a stab. Like Gino mentioned, because of the pace setup, I think Mercy has a chance to, maybe give the rest of the field the slip.
Yep.
if I could throw in another horse, maybe because of the prices, you could do an exact 7-10 with all. Hope you get a big number underneath. I like the 7. Get on the bus, Doug O'Neill. I think this runner is pretty logical at 6-1. Has the highest last out speed rating, Brisnet wise. Best turf speed amongst all of today's starters. Had a very respectable third place finish last out. Got Super Mario. So I like the 7 and the 10, both nice prices, square prices, 6-1 and 12-1.
I think we mentioned it in these long races. A lot of times people think, oh, you need a good closer or whatever, but speed does really well in these marathon races, surprisingly well. So Mercy, if you had any doubt whether Mercy would go to the lead or not, once they named the Candyman, Edwin Maldonado, you know, there's no, they're going to the lead. That's a given. All right, let's move on now to tomorrow. We got some races to go over at Del Mar, and we're going to start it off with the 5th race. In the 5th race, they're going a mile and the 16th on the turf. Optional claimers for $80,000. Non-winners are 1, and they're going for a $72,000 purse. A nice big field of 9 in here, Gino. How did you see race number 5?
I absolutely love a filly in here, Queen Goddess. I think she is really talented. In her debut, she was 2nd, and Michael McCarthy is not a barn that cranks the horses first time out. He's awesome second time out. So she fits the McCarthy profile so well. Now, a lot of times people say, okay, she's going to step up and face winners. Are you worried about that? The reason why I'm not is because the horse that she lost to in her debut, Zydeco Mama, actually came back recently and finished a very good 3rd against winners in a first level allowance company. So I think she ran well against a horse who's already come back and run against winners. I look at races sometimes and I go process of elimination. I start looking at horses who really fit this particular race. The 1, she's got some sprint speed, but I think there are some question marks. The 2, maybe not quite as good. The 3, Miss Bella Chow, sure, she fits. She looks nice in here. We don't really know, can't help falling. We expect some improvement, but we're not quite sure what the ability is there. Fee-Fi Pharaoh is going to try the turf for the first time. Same with Moraz. You go to Basila, who might be in a little tough. I start eliminating horses, and it feels like Queen Goddess comes into this race and looks really, really good for this spot. I might single her in the early pick 5. If she's anything over 5-2, I'll play a nice win wager.
All right, the Goddess for Gino. How did you see it, Mike?
I like Gino's Goddess.
It's a good name for a horse. That's a good pick too, right? Gino's Goddess.
Along with McCarthy's other runner, number 8, Moraz. But my top choice is actually Sweet Pearl, number 7. I'm going to use some of the same logic that I used last race with the East Coast shipper, Hess, Maldonado, once again teaming up. I think 10-1 is a square price. I'm going to play that as an exacta box, 7, 8, 5.
The horses that she ran against last time she was on the turf and in her last turf races, those are all stakes horses. Like you see Porque No, Honey Pants, those are stakes horses. Con Lima is a grade 3 winner, multiple graded stakes winner, and was grade 1 placed recently. So yeah, I think as far as like exotics are concerned and stuff, Sweet Pearl is probably one you want to have at least underneath or in the mix somewhere.
Soothsay, what a beast Soothsay is as well.
Yeah.
I am not going with your Goddess. You could have your Goddess. And, I'm gonna go with Fee Pharaoh. Terry Lovinger's kind of like a friend of mine. He used to a real good friend of mine was Gary Sherlock, and so Terry used to hang out with Gary, and Gary had a lot of Terry's horses. Of course, Gary passed away as well. So now, he's going to Walter Solis, a strong runner. But I was there like March 7th for the debut of Fee-Fi Pharaoh. And Walter was telling me that, man, I got a really good one here, George. This one is good. He's really good. And he even told me, I think she's going to get better on the turf. But, we're doing all the, running a bunch of stakes and stuff. So been running well, running better against 3-year-olds than against older horses. But the 3-year-old record is really awesome. A couple of wins there, including a stakes race. And if Walter was right that she's going to improve on the turf, I mean, she already has the best numbers of anybody here. If she improves on the turf, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think that she likes a mile and 16 is going to be great. Bravo has now decided that he is no longer going to be Jersey Joe.
Nope.
He's staying in town. He's staying here. I guess he's doing well. And so that's and he's just doing great. So Bravo is not going back east. And I think he's got a super live runner in Fee-Fi Faro. I think Moraz, you talk about speed, looks like could steal this race on the lead. I don't know if there's a whole ton of speed to go with Moraz, and he could steal this race if she likes the turf. And she's coming from Churchill Downs off the Kentucky Oats, a grade 1. So I think Moraz has every right to steal this race. So I like the 6 and the 8. That means, I owe you one. Is that what 68 is? Something like that. All right. I'm not sure how that works. Race number 6, Del Mar, is the I'm smoking. Gino Zabashi is here, shows up here.
And so does Eleuthera, which is, I believe, an island.
Eleuthera.
Eleuthera.
It's pronounced Eleuthera. The Eleuthera Island.
Yeah. Sounds like a crypto that Mike would be interested in too, doesn't it? She is got some ability. The only problem is sprinting on the dirt might not really be what she wants, and she's going to be facing some of the boys in here too. But just keep an eye on her for down the line, because
who's this? Which one? Which one are you talking about?
Eleuthera, the 6.
Eleuthera.
Yeah, Eleuthera. Because if she gets the kind of pace to run at in here, she will come running. And she's cool and she's good, but she might get outrun. Like, she could run dead last by 20 sprinting on the dirt against them. And then it was like, oh, we took a shot and tried. But just keep an eye on her because she's going to be a big price. I honestly think that Flavian Pratt is the best jockey in the nation right now. So I think that any place that Flavian jumps on is a jock upgrade. And in this particular case, this might be as big of a jock upgrade as you can find, because you go from a bug to Flavian Pratt, and you go from a horse who's actually run really well twice against, some of these common rivals, but maybe just a little bit more of a veteran seasoned ride with Pratt on the outside now. This horse has got speed. Last in the debut, completely missed the break, then rushed up. That move just never works. Miss the break, rush up. You're in the two path of 5 horses battling. And then second out, battled all the way around the track from the inside, was down inside battling, which is never the easiest place to be. Just missed that day. Now you're drawn to the outside, has some speed, but can sit a little bit. I think Moose Mitchell is going to take a big step forward in here with Flavian jumping aboard.
That's a massive jockey upgrade, and Papadromo certainly can win with non-favorites. He does it all the time. I'm smoking over here. Who's going to win here, Mike?
You'd mentioned the 6 and 8 in the last race. Oh, you won. That's truly the case if you're thirsty always, right? I'm going to go with both thirsty horses, actually, the 7 and the 4. The 7 may go off as the favorite if you don't buy into Rock and Buy, but right now, second choice on the morning line. And the number 4, Mr. T's Thirsty at 12-1. Like the thirsty runners here, if the race sets up the right way, I think that Thirsty always can come from behind. Well, I mean, he's shown some versatility. Or she. I apologize. No, it is a he.
It's a he.
He, yes. Has shown some versatility, and I like that in this type of race here. And I think that Mr. T's Thirsty for Walter Solis is a square price at 4-1. Jose Valdivia on board. That's the second time that I've looked his way. And Solis's other runner, Thirsty Always, Juan Hernandez on board. I'm going to take both thirsty horses. Hopefully they'll quench my my thirst for a payoff.
There we go.
You both are going to be parched after this race because there's no quenching. You guys ain't quenching nothing. Go get a Gatorade or something because Rock and Rye is going to annihilate this field. is not even going to be close. Rock and Rye, to me, is a single in the pick 6, single in the pick 3, single in the pick your nose. Whatever you're picking, the Rock and Rye, I don't care where they hide. Rock and Rye is going to annihilate this field. It just keeps getting better and better and better.
Well, if we're right, Walter Solis is going to have a nice day tomorrow.
Oh,
or at least nice race.
Yeah, him and Terry Levenger. I mean, they do great with these 2-year-olds.
The Cowboys too.
That's all Terry Levenger does. Is he wins with 2-year-olds, and then he disappears. I don't know how that happens. How come these 2-year-olds don't turn into great 3-year-olds? Or maybe he sells them. I'm not sure what the story is, but I know the story is that Rock and Rye, with Rispoli aboard, who is just killing it with 23 wins. To me, is a major single 9-5. I think he's going to be even money, man. I just think that Rock and Rye is just head and shoulders above the rest here, and we'll find out if I'm going to be smoking or if I've been smoking.
Or what you've been smoking.
No, well, I've been smoking, but
it's good. Pass it this way, huh, George?
Yeah. All right, let's go to the John C. Maybe. It's a grade 2, race number 9, and it's a 1.125 miles. Man, you got some really, really talented runners here. There's very few horses. I mean, there's maybe a couple you could throw out, but other than that, such an evenly matched stakes race. Is a grade 2 that you can go a lot of different ways. Mike, how did you end up in this race?
When I see an evenly matched race like you're talking about, it kind of forces me to look at the prices, right? I'm going to see if I could beat the favorites. And if I think they're beatable, I'm going to look at a price. And for me, I'm looking at the second longest shot morning line, the number 2, Quiet Secretary. I really like the last out effort. It was at Del Mar as well. It was at a mile and going a little bit longer, but shouldn't be a problem, because if you look at the time before at Del Mar, ran a very respectable race. It's got really solid Brisnet speed figs here. The best turf speed is close to the average winning speed. I'm going to go with the 2, 15-1, Quiet Secretary, Ian Crueljack, and Abel Cedillo piloting the horse.
Wow, excellent pick there. I love Ian Crueljack and that whole Crueljack family. Really, really nice. This one's got plenty of speed. Let's see how long she could carry it. Do you know?
Very strong opinion this race on Bodhisita. Bodhisita, you look at her form from the moment she broke her maiden on the bottom of the page in October. Every race is either a good effort or a race where she ran into some trouble and has a legitimate excuse. She breaks her maiden, she comes back and she tries a stakes race where she has legitimate trouble. She wins back-to-back races. Then she's second in the grade 1 Gamely. She returns to come back and win the grade 2 Yellow Ribbon. Then after that, she tries the Matriarch. In that Matriarch race, the winner, Viadera, we just saw Viadera come back last weekend and win the grade 2 Ballston Spa. The runner-up in that race, Blowout, won the grade 2 Distaff Turf Mile this year. The third place finisher, Juliet Foxtrot, came out of that race to win the grade 1 Jenny Wiley. That was as strong of a race as you will find. And that was a race that was sandwiched by layoffs. That's the thing that I love the most about Bodhisita. Her last 5 races have all been race, layoff, race, layoff, race, layoff. She's putting 2 together for the first time in a while. She's going to be fitter. She's going to be sharper. She's going to be a little bit better. She had some legitimate trouble last time out. And if you're just playing her off of like speed figures and numbers, she's right there with a lot of the top contenders in this race. She has a win over Dog Tag, who's going to be, one of the betting favorites. I think Bodhisita, if she's anything around 5-1, I'll make a nice win wager there.
My top pick in this race is number 6, Bodhicitta. So we're talking about the same runner. I like the switch from McCarthy to DeSormo. We mentioned he's rejuvenated. He's riding great. He won another one yesterday. Certainly legitimate problems last time, which probably led the connections to make a move with the jockey.
Yep.
And man, I think she would have been right there, a little bit closer if not for that trouble.
Yep.
Her last 2 races have been, 2021, her best races ever as far as thoroughgraph numbers are concerned, and probably some of the best thoroughgraph numbers in the race. And again, despite having trouble last time out, I think Bodhicitta at 6-1, and you're going to get it because we mentioned it's a really evenly matched race. is the one to bet, and Bodichica is going to be one of the ones I'm betting. Before we get to race 11, the greatest trainer, Hall of Famer Bob Baffert told a friend of mine, Billy the Greek, that in race number 10, he's got a runner called Corniche. I guess that's like a Cornish game hen or a Corniche. I don't know. I think don't be chicken with this one. Go ahead and bet away. So Corniche is going to be a single for me.
Isn't that the horse that you own, George? Because they paid $1.5 million for that one, right? I thought that was you, right?
I own a piece.
Okay.
I'm going to own a piece because I'm going to bet in tomorrow. But,
there we go.
But Bob Baffert said, I don't care who's in the race. Doesn't matter to me. We're going to win that race. So that's pretty strong coming from Bob Baffert. So Corniche, don't leave Corniche out. Be a short price, but sometimes, if you can get a free square and spread elsewhere, you can still make money in the pick fives. Race 11 is last race.
Good luck here.
Get out race. And this is the Del Mar Derby. And my goodness, this is a really, really competitive race. Mike, let's kick it off with you. Who do you like here in this 14 horse field?
I was really proud of myself because I was like, I've got another square price. I've got another price horse.
Right.
I'm going to piggyback off of Baffert's efforts in race 10 and win again in race 11, Hudson Ridge at 9-2. But then I kind of looked at the rest of the field. And I'm like, wait a second. My square price is the favorite.
Yeah.
9-2.
9-2. Wow.
So I wasn't as proud of myself after the fact for landing on that one, but I do like Hudson Ridge.
Yeah.
I think this, we're going to go off of the Baffert momentum here. He switches to Flavor Flav. I think if you're ever going to switch off of Abel Cedillo to go to Flavor Flav is probably the right call. Best Turf Speed Figs. They're a hot combo that is Flavor Flav and Bob Baffert in the last couple of weeks. They're 3 for 3 in the money, 2 winners and a second. So they're when they team up, they mean business. I'm going to go with Hudson Ridge. If I could name a couple of price horses underneath, it would be the 10 Jimmy Blue Jeans and the 8. What is that? Cathkin Peak.
Yep.
Is that how to pronounce it?
Yeah,
I think so. But I butchered names already today, so George is,
Well, I'm the king of butchering names.
I was gonna say,
So-
I usually listen with the volume down to a lot of the replays, and so then I get all the great information, and then I realize oh wait, I don't even know how to say this horse's name. It's like
I'll stick to the numbers then. Gino. 1, 10, 8 are my top 3 choices in order. That would be my exacta box. And if I'm going to single in the prior race, George, these 3 runners are going to take me, bring it home for me.
All right. Sounds good. The you can't mess up more than Trevor Dedman messes up Ginobili. Ginobili.
Every race.
Every time. Every single time. Anyway.
I think Hudson Ridge, if you're playing like late exotics, you have to use because in a field like this, for him to be able to save all the ground when a lot of these horses are probably going to get hooked wide, they're going to get into some trouble. He should be able to just get a nice ground saving trip inside. So I think you have to use him. The 12 Crew Dragon is probably my top selection. He just missed against Flashiest 2 starts back in the Oceanside. He came right back in one in a very strong first level allowance race. And he's another one. He's got a little versatility to him. So I think he might be able to kind of get himself in an okay spot from the outside. And then Flashiest, he's got a tough post, but he's a stone cold closer. It really might not matter for him. He may just be dropping all the way back, waiting, and then try to press the button and go. If you want to have some fun, go check out his Turf Paradise race. That was one of the most impressive races I can remember first time out of the box. He was green and goofy, and then he came over to Santa Anita and showed that he fits with this company. Just throw out the Saratoga race. They went over there. He was in too tough. I think he was like getting a wide trip. He never seemed comfortable. Give him a shot right back. If you're just playing him off the Oceanside, he'd probably be a little bit shorter in this field, but because he threw in a clunker, a few people probably don't want to go to him. I'll use flashiest everywhere. I've got 112-14 to close out Saturday.
Yeah, I'm closing out. My top pick is flashiest as well. The reason Pratt's on Hudson Ridge is because I think not because they replaced Cedillo. I think Cedillo went to flashiest, and flashiest that last race just was, you know, it looked so green in the Saratoga Derby. Just wasn't himself, and still ran a good number, even though he was beaten, you know, 11s by 9 lengths. He ran an 8 on the thoroughgraph sheets. It was just a strong race, and should give him a lot of bottom going a mile and 3/8. Like you said, I mean, if you've got a speed horse drawn outside, you know, he might have to really hustle to get the lead and try to save some ground. Flash is just going to drop back to last anyway, so it really doesn't matter what post position he's in. So I think he'll be fine. Hey, Mike, thank you so much for being on the show. I had such a good time in the Win Place and Show when you were there. We had a fantastic time. That's where I first met you.
That was a blast.
That was a blast. You got some great guests coming up in the Mike Abadir Show with football season coming up, because Gino's he's out of there, right? Gino's out, and so
Gino's going to be on assignment, right? He's going to take us
out on assignment.
Yeah, he's going to take us up to kickoff. Up to kickoff on the Thursday night games. And I want to thank you before handing it over to Gino. Thank you for having me on, guys. Definitely appreciated being with both of you guys. You guys are fun company to keep and very insightful when it comes to horses and sports in general. I do want to apologize for the furry ones over here. I tried to utilize the mute button effectively, so I'm hoping that some of those barks didn't come through. You see, in LA, Friday's the garbage pickup day. And my dog clearly doesn't appreciate that I didn't give him one more chance to go through that garbage for some of those leftovers that got dumped in there. He'd like to have an opportunity to pick some up. So he holds it against the garbage guy and all the noise, like Gino was kind of mentioning.
All right, so when can we hear the Mike Abadir Show, and how?
Every Thursday at 4 p.m. It's a live show, but you could also pick up the replay or on demand, or whatever they call it nowadays, the podcast version of it on Voice America Radio Network, but it's also found on Apple iTunes, and all of your favorite streaming options out there should be picking it up by now.
All right.
4 p.m. Pacific time every Thursday.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Encourage people to listen to that show. Gino, I'm jealous of Mike. What a big mic he has. But Gino,
size doesn't matter.
You got it right there.
There you go.
Megahertz.
Tells me.
Remember megahertz? Yeah.
I was gonna say.
See when you're
so I guess
when you're keeping company with the dogs. By the way, this is very effective with the mute button. So I had to transition back to this again.
All right. So we heard when we could hear Mike. When can we not hear you? Is there a time that you don't have a show? Like you can't hear me from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. Other than that,
that's probably pretty accurate. But all over the place. Best place to follow along is on Twitter. It's me, Gino B. You'll get alerts to everything I'm doing when football season starts up. Every Monday, every Thursday, we'll be having live streams leading up to the games, talking about the betting, the odds, the props in all the games. And then Sunday morning, we're going to have a live stream at 11 a.m. going over the full slate. I'll continue to have That's What G Said podcast covering all the topics that we mentioned. We're doing a What If recaps right now. If you're a Marvel fan, jump into there too. Some Star Wars stuff coming up later on in the year. You know, we're all over the place, Georgie.
All right.
Billions,
thank you both.
Mike. Billions on Sunday this week. We're big Billions fans. It's coming back.
Yeah. That's right. And if I could quickly give my Twitter handle as well, it's just my name, at Mike Abadir, all one word, and nothing, no dots or periods or dashes in between, at Mike Abadir.
All right. My producer's saying we're running too long, so he's telling me to cut it out. It's a pleasure to have you two on the show. And,
thank you so much, guys.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great day, everyone. Good luck at the race.